Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and it's finally time for the mystery number 6 and 7 from Cotton Cuts called Sparkle and Shine. And I can't wait to get these 2 months done. So we are on 6 and 7 of the large and 6 and 7 of the small. I did choose the pearl for the large one, and for the small one, fabric that will make a great Christmas quilt. If you have a color collection that is not a common collection for you, be sure to keep your thread and your bobbin with your sets. And that way you will always have it handy and you're not having to look for the thread. So let's start with the small 6 and 7. The patterns do come in black and white because there was a lot of different fabrics that we could choose from. But what I do is I lay out all of my fabrics and I do have them all right side up. And that way I'm going to be able to see what I have at a glance. From here, I get to start putting it together. We need to join A and D to make a half square triangle. And we will need a total of 4 of these. That will give us 2 extra A. And we're going to press the seams to the D. Take 4 of the E squares and sew them together so that the D and E are touching. Press those seams going towards that half square triangle. We now get to put together E and A. And we're going to press those seams towards the A. And we get to put these 2 together. So that D piece is going to be facing the center. And press those down to those 2 solid pieces. Label these sections 6A and put them away until the ending. With the remainder pieces, sew the E's on one side and the A's on the other. And those seams are going to be pressed out to the ends. Be sure that the A block is to your left and the E block will be to your right. We now get to join those large E pieces right onto the end of that E. So these colors will be matching. And press towards this long piece. We can now label this as 6B, and we're done clue number 6. Clue number 7, we're also going to get 2 sections. So to start with 7A, we're going to need that large D triangle, and there's 4 of them. Divide our A pile. We're going to need 4 on each side, which will give us 4 left over. When these are put together, we're going to press towards those smaller triangles. A little tip on sewing these together is to sew the right triangle on first and then the left. That way you're going to be starting from the bottom and stitching up. So you won't need to fight with that top piece as you're stitching. So press all of those going out. Take 2 of these out and label them 7A, and that's all we're going to need for 7A. We're going to continue with these to make the 7B. So take those B squares and sew them onto each end and press them out. Put these 2 aside and sew 4A and 4D together. And we're going to press towards the D. These half square triangles will need to be sewn on that A piece. And be sure to have those A's touching. And this time they're going to be pressed towards that larger piece. We now get to sew those 2 strips together. So we have that smiley, if we want to look at it, facing up, and the big point facing up. So this looks like it's the beginning of a star. And press those seams coming up. With only those 2 D's left, they are going to fit right on top. So we definitely have lost our star shape. And continue pressing up. This piece is going to be labeled 7B, and we are done that mystery number 7 for the small quilt. The large mystery, I did do the pearl collection. So let's work on number 6. We will need to start with 2 of the B's, 2 of those small A triangles, and those B's are going to be sewn to the left of triangle B, and we're going to press to that smaller triangle. Put those 2 aside, take 2 more of that B triangle, 2 more of the A's, and this time we're sewing them on the opposite side. Once that one's done, put it aside, take the leftover 2 B's, and this time we get to sew those larger E triangles on each side. When we're done, we're going to press up to this B. I now have 2 of these pieces. We now get to join step 1 and step 2 to the right and the left of that center triangle. So we're going to have those B triangles all facing in the same direction. And we're going to press up towards these B's. Let's put those aside and work on the rest of the pieces. Take 2 of the C's and 2 of the A's and stitch them on and press up to that A. The next stage, we'll be taking 2 more of the C's, 2 more of the A's, and you're putting them on the other side, and we're going to press towards the A's. And then just like that top, we're going to take that C piece and put those 2 larger triangles on each side. And we're going to press towards the C. So we have these 3 units, just like we did this top. And those seams will be pressed down. We have a few pieces left over, so we will need to put those squares on the end of C and press out. We now get to sew these 3 rows together. Be sure that the C's and the B's are together. So these 3 rows together and press all of the seams up to the top. And with those 3 rows done, we are now done clue number 6. And the last one for today is clue number 7. Once again, for the large one. For clue number 7, we are going to make 8 pieces exactly the same, which means we're going to need 16 of each of these pieces. So for something like this, I like to just lay it all out first. So those 8 pieces are going to start with 16 of these, and then we get to sew them together. I'm still going to follow those sewing directions by putting A and D together, and that will need to press to D. B and C are going to go together, and I get to press that towards C. I can now sew the F onto this unit and press it up. We will be able to match these together, and we will have 16 of these units. With those 16 pieces done, we have 1 seam left to do, and we're going to join down the center. So the F's are going to face each other. Clue number 7 is now done. And I do like to keep them all organized, so when I do finish all of the clues, they'll be easy to get hold of. So mystery 6 and 7 is done for the small quilt and the large quilt. And I'm sure your colors are a little bit different than mine, so it'll be a lot of fun to see how they all turn out. On October 14th, I am going to be doing the mysteries 8 and 9, which means we will be almost at the end because there's only 10 months of this mystery. So be sure to join me in October where we will get 8 and 9 done of Cotton Cuts, Sparkle and Shine. And thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe and come on back. Let's see what we're working on next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.